This video is going to be all about the best 3 SMGs inside Vanguard's multiplayer. Similar to the assault rifle video we made earlier today, we're going to be talking about the SMGs this time round and letting you know which one's the best. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons and overall tips and tricks for Call of Duty Vanguard or Warzone, don't forget to sub to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We have already posted tons of Vanguard content over there already. Now, like I said, this video is all about the SMGs, but I do want to start off with a couple of things when it comes to the attachments for these weapons. So for example, if we choose the MP40 for instance, if you look at the MP40 and you look at the magazine attachments, some of these attachments do change the damage profile of the weapons. So as you can see, the damage went down to 23 here, or it goes up to 46 depending on which ammo capacity or which ammo you use. And of course, that is the case for pretty much every single one of the SMGs in the game. And the only other attachments that can change damage is the barrel attachments. So also here, what you'll see when I flick through the barrels, some of the barrels may or may not change the damage. In this case, for the MP40, it doesn't, but for some of the other SMGs in the game, it does actually change damage, but we're not taking a look at the barrels at the moment. So there is a couple of things we're looking for when it comes to SMGs. We're looking for low recoil if we can, and we're looking for the fastest possible TTK, especially in an SMG that's a close quarters weapon. You want to make sure it can move quick, and you also want to make sure it has the super fast TTK, and I feel like that's really important. And in some cases, you might not get low recoil and fast TTK, and we'll see that later in this video. So as I said in the previous video, of course, it wouldn't be a stats-based video if we didn't have a spreadsheet. And again, what we did was color-coded all the weapons with their ammo types. We also took the rate of fire from the game. We're obviously going off the fact that the game is accurate, so I'm hoping it is. We took the base damage from the game and the vital damage. Now, vital damage is just basically headshot damage. They just called it vital damage. I have no idea why. And then we plugged it into our TTK calculator right here. And these are the TTK values for pretty much every single SMG. So what we're going to do is actually filter it based off of the TTKs. So what we'll do is we'll give you the fastest TTK at the top here. So as you can see, the top 3 weapons are the OWEN Gun with the 8mm rounds. We've got the PPSH with the Russian rounds. We've got the M1 with the 8mm rounds, and I'm also going to throw in the Type 100 with the Russian rounds as well, because it's literally 2 milliseconds TTK off of the M1 with the 8mm round. So as you can see, there's not much of a TTK difference here. You can see you get 123 millisecond TTK with the OWEN Gun, which is ridiculous. Very similar to the way the bar was with the assault rifles. It's a 2-shot kill as well, which is absolutely insane. I mean, damage per second is not super good on this weapon. The damage per second is the best on the PPSH because it does have the faster fire rate, of course, so it kind of just makes sense overall. Now, it's not just TTK and recoil that makes an SMG great. Movement is a big part of it. ADS times and sprint to fire times are really important too. Now, it's kind of hard to do that when there's about a bazillion different attachments in this game, and a lot of them do affect ADS times and sprint to fire times. So that would make this video extremely long. So we're going to not include those things in this video just for the sake of time. So what we're going to do is compare all 4 of these SMGs when it comes to recoil and see how they perform in terms of recoil on this wall right here. First of all, we have the Type 100, so let's take a look at that as well. So let's fire the Type 100. As you can see, it's pretty much vertical. There is a bit of a side-to-side bounce to it, but more or less for the most part, it is vertical. Let's try and control it now. So it's relatively accurate, to be completely honest. As an SMG at about, what, 10 to 15 meters, it is pretty accurate, and you can still land those medium range shots with it. Let's try the M1 now. So the M1 has a lot of side to side bounce. It is pretty much straight upwards, but it shouldn't be too difficult to control this as well. So it's not as easy to control as the Type 100, but definitely relatively easy, especially for an SMG overall. So now we have the OWEN Gun, and we're going to do the same recoil test. We'll fire it off, and then we'll try and control it. So let's take a look at that. So as you can see, the OWEN goes up and to the right, and it is relatively accurate. So let's try and control this. Pretty much a super accurate weapon in my opinion. Now the main issue with the OWEN gun, and the reason why I can't really recommend it, is if you look here, now you'll probably be behind the screen for the most part, but that magazine attachment takes up half of the display more or less. You can't see what's going on behind that magazine at all, and it literally takes up like a good chunk of your screen, which I find very annoying, especially for a gun that's as powerful as this one. I don't really know if this is like a balancing mechanism or what, but it literally takes up way too much screen space. Like I literally cannot see if there's a player in the windows, in the doorway, anything like that if I was firing at someone here. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I can't recommend this gun that much. Let's try out the PPSH, see how that performs in terms of recoil. Yeah, the PPSH's recoil is really bad, to be honest, and there's not a real way to control this. Pulling down is not going to do much. Yeah, pulling down doesn't do absolutely anything at all. Because there's a lot of side-to-side bounce, and I've used all the attachments to help with horizontal recoil here, and it still has a lot of that side-to-side bounce, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So like I said, with that kind of recoil pattern, the PPSH cannot be one of the best SMGs in the game. Even the MP40 would be a better option because you're actually more likely to land your shots in general, even though it has a slower TTK. So at number 3, we're going to have to put the OWEN gun. Now, even though it has the fastest TTK and it is actually super accurate for an SMG, I just can't put it at number 1 for the sheer fact that that magazine takes up like half of your screen space. It just doesn't make sense why they did that. Obviously, the gun is pretty powerful overall. I don't really know if it was a balancing thing, but if they had like a 30 round mag option and it didn't take up your whole display, that would have probably been way better, because they do have other mag options, but it's the 8mm that makes it have that super fast TTK. So you do need that with this gun. For the rest of the attachments, if you do want to use this SMG, I was using the Mercury silencer for the sound suppression and the recoil control. I was using the Carver foregrip for the recoil control and hipfire accuracy. Then I was using the hollow point rounds to get the increased limb damage. This is just going to make your weapon overall more consistent. I said that in previous videos. That's pretty much what that does, is it just makes the damage of your limb shots a bit more powerful so that you always get consistent TTK. Rear grip, we're using the rubber grip here to try and control the recoil. Then for proficiency, we're actually using brace, which helps with the initial recoil once again. For kit, we used quick. You can use whatever you want here, fully loaded or whatever. For the stock, we were using the folding stock to help with the recoil once again. It does kind of hinder your aim down sight time and your overall movement speed, but it's something you're going to need to take with this gun, because if you don't use these recoil controlling attachments, it just doesn't have good recoil control. We use the Model 47 optic, which is basically the first optic, and then you do need to skip over the barrel here, because if you do choose this barrel here, you actually get less damage, so you're not getting that super fast TTK. You could go for the rapid barrel, but it then increases your recoil too much that you can't use it, and the shrouded barrel just doesn't really help all that much for anything really, to be honest, so you don't really need to use that one either. So I would just skip over the barrel entirely. At number 2, we have the M1 SMG, and this class setup again is built around kind of recoil control a little bit too, because this gun does have quite a bit of recoil. So we were using the Mercury silencer again for the sound suppression and the recoil control. We're using the Carver foregrip because it is the best foregrip in the game. I've used pretty much every build with this foregrip for every gun, and it's going to give you the best recoil control. It does con your ADS a tiny bit. For the magazine option, you've got 2 options here. You've got the 50 round drums, or you've got the 100 round. The 100 rounds is going to slow you down 1% more for your movement speed and 7.3% more for your ADS speed. So keep that in mind. I don't necessarily think you need the 100 rounds, especially multiplayer anyway. 50 rounds is more than enough. And this is going to give you that super quick TTK. Hollow point rounds again for the increased limb damage. We use the stipple grip tape in this case to control the recoil. We use sleight of hand. You could also use fleet or frenzy. None are really going to help with recoil or anything, but fleet is pretty solid in terms of swapping your weapons or just overall movement speed, so you can go for that if you like. For kit, we went for quick. Again, is just for the faster sprint speed. We skipped over the stock for this one because we felt like that conning the recoil is not going to be handy for this one. This one gives you too too much cons to your hip fire accuracy as well as sprint to fire, and you do want to be able to hip fire with an SMG. I would skip over the stock when it comes to the M1. You can put one on there if you really want to, but personally I don't think it is needed. Then I went for the Model 47 optic again, and then for the barrel we went for recoil barrel, which is the cooling barrel here. This is going to give you better recoil control, which you do need on this SMG. It does slow down your sprint to fire time a little bit, but to control the recoil you kind of need that. And last but not least, we have the Type 100. This has got the good balance of that fast TTK, and it's also got low recoil, and it also doesn't have any mag attachments that block up like 90% of your screen real estate. So that is why the Type 100, in my opinion, is the best SMG in the game. We're using the Mercury silencer again for the sound suppression of the recoil control, as you can see here. Then we used the Carver foregrip once again for the recoil control. Then we used the 30 round mags, the Russian short mags. This is the one that's going to give you that fast TTK because it does increase your damage on the weapon. Then you want to use the hollow point rounds again for that better limb damage profile. Then we use the stipple grip once again. Then we use proficiencies, and the one that we used here was Vital. Vital is going to be really important for getting that larger hitbox. So that is what's going to make this gun feel even more powerful when you already have that fast TTK. So make sure you be using Vital there. For kit, I use Quick. You can use whatever you want here again. For the stock, we used the grip folding stock, and that is just for the faster overall movement speed. It does help with recoil as well a little bit, so definitely very handy. This is probably one of the best SMGs in the game for movement as well. Then for the optic, we went for the Model 47 once again. And then for the barrel, we actually skipped over the barrel this time, because if you choose any of these other barrels, so for example, if you choose the light barrel, it's going to actually con your recoil. If you choose the 374mm barrel, it's going to con your overall movement speed, which is a lot of cons there. If you use the precision barrel, it's going to reduce your damage, which then you don't get that fast TTK. And if you choose the rapid barrel, it just increases the recoil way too much as well. So that's why we skipped over the barrel for the Type 100. So there we have it. Those are the best 3 SMGs inside Vanguard at the moment. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to sub to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And we will be making follow-up videos to this one for LMGs and sniper rifles. And don't forget to subscribe to our second channel. We've posted tons of content over there as well already. And thank you very much for watching.